What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and this is kind of a surprise. I definitely was expecting this information to drop maybe tomorrow, but we're actually getting this now. We're getting the reveal of the new batch. 2 new legends are going to be dropping. Remember, this is a typical end-of-month batch. This is the final batch of characters to drop right before anniversary. There could be a legend dropping as a new Rumble, potentially, at the start of May. But my assumption is this is probably going to be the final batch of legends right before the anniversary. So the thing is not always, but sometimes these characters that drop right before the anniversary, like, usually hint towards what the anniversary is going to be about, or are characters that work directly with characters that have come out either, that are coming out for the 11th anniversary, or characters that work really well with characters that have already dropped. So let's go ahead and break these characters down. I haven't actually read anything about these characters' abilities, so this is going to be a very raw live reaction to these units, but the fact that Bartholomew Kuma is getting a legend here would lead us to believe that he is not going to get representation during the 11th anniversary, right? So let's go ahead and break down what Kuma is going to be doing. In this video as well, we have another Sugafest exclusive. We have a brand new Dr. Vegapunk. Honestly, at this point, very similar to like how we got kind of like Wano'd out. I am Vegapunked out. I don't care about Vegapunk enough, unless if this character is absolutely broken. I will say the artwork looks really good, but let's just get into this, right? So Kuma is a cerebral powerhouse. He is looks like he's a Psi unit. He has a captain ability and special that becomes stronger when forming a crew with certain number of characters with specific character tags. Okay, so we're heading into the character tag meta. His special reduces the crew's blowaway status by 4 turns. When I read this, this gets me a little concerned for the PK that's going to be dropping, but it's just the fact that, like, reducing blowaway, it doesn't really matter, because I hope he just resists blowaway as a captain. That would be dope. Removing blowaway is kind of redundant in a lot of ways, because if a character is blown away for an infinite amount of turns, then this doesn't even matter. Yes, when a character is blown away for a certain amount of time, this is obviously good for that, but that effect is so rare, and even when it does happen, you can usually work your way around it. Not a big fan of that. Okay, I hope that the rest of his abilities are good. One thing I noticed straight away, he does not have like one of those premier potential abilities, so you don't really care about dupes unless if, of course, he's really good in Rumble. Let's jump into his breakdown. So his special ability reduces cerebral and powerhouse special charge time by 1 and switch effect by 3. The fact that this is dropping now, again, kind of leads me to believe that potentially we're going to see a dual unit coming out for the 11th anniversary that is maybe cerebral powerhouse focused to make full use of this. Unless if the Vegapunk is a dual unit, which I don't think it is, but we'll see. Reduces blowaway status by 4 turns. We already talked about this, a little bit redundant. Boosts cerebral and powerhouse characters' attack based on the damage reduction effect applied for 3 turns. So if you have an 80% damage reduction, you get a 1.8 times attack boost. I hope he has a way to implement a damage reduction to actually make use of that. But that's fine, that's fine. When 4 or more Paramecia, Egghead, and /or Rev Army. So you need to have Paramecias. But then again, is it like Egghead and /or Revs, or is it like 1, 2, 3, or is it 1 and then this is number 2? Like, does it have to be Egghead or Rev? The way that this is worded leads me to believe that it's 4 more of these 3 are on the crew. Activating a special further boosts crew's chain multiplier effects, except multiplicative. So basically, chain additions, and boost the chain multiplier by 1.6 for 3 turns. Okay, up to 2 multiply increasing effects can be applied. Otherwise, you get a 1.4 chain boost for 1 turn. Okay, hang on a sec. Let me reread this. Activating a special further boost crew's chain multiplier effect by plus 0.1. Like, that's incredible. Hang on. So if you got 4 more Paramecia, Egghead, Rev, then when you launch a special, it's going to further increase your chains by plus 1.0, and then boost the chain multiplier by plus 1.6 for 3 turns. So, and that could be buffed twice, so you could potentially get up to like a 3.6 times chain, because if you get this, which can be buffed twice, otherwise you get 1.4 chain boost for 1 turn, that still can be buffed twice. What I will say is that for an end of month batch legend, this is actually quite underwhelming. I'm not really, this is not like a great special. I'm really hoping the rest of his abilities are good, because this special's not that great. Like, you're getting the cooldown stuff, which is interesting. This is redundant. Damage reduction based attack boost is like, it's fine. if he can work in high damage content teams. And then this ability is, you're basically just getting a chain boost. A really good chain boost at that, but he doesn't do a whole lot, I'll admit. He doesn't do much. So I hope that we see some good stuff here. Captain ability. Reduces special charge time by 1. Cerebral Powerhouse, 5.25 attack, 1.4 health. Cerebral Powerhouse, Psi Recovery, tandem matching. Removes 10 turns of paralysis. That's good. The following effects are applied based on the crew's character tags. When you have 4 more Egghead, boost attack by an additional 1.1 for Cerebral Powerhouse. If 5 or more Egghead, reduces Despair by 2 turns. And then boost Paramecia and Rev's HP by 1500. That's a pretty big HP boost. Pretty big. Okay. Very interesting. Okay. So, 4 or more Egghead, you get the attack boost. So, I feel like if you're building him, you need to build with Egghead because 5.25 is like kind of like whatever. 5.25 times 1.1, 5.75, which is a little bit better. And then 5 or more Egghead, you get the, so you want to build 5 or more Egghead to get the Despair, like 2 turns of Despair reduction. Might not seem like a lot, but when you account for the fact that when you have like your sockets, this is going to be removing 5 turns total with all of that in mind. So that, removing 10 turns paralysis, and then with sockets in mind, removing 5 turns of Despair is kind of interesting. And then the HP boost is like, that's a nice addition, but not really required. It's fine. He does resist special reverse by 3 turns, which makes sense considering he gives cooldown with the special. Special reverse by 3 is kind of a weird one. Can't be blown away, makes sense. And then the superclass ability, when 1 or more of the following characters, so very easily activatable. You've got Bonnie, all the Vegapunks, Sabo, Ivankov, Bello, Betty, Morley, Karasu, Lindbergh, Koala, Hack, Inazuma, Robin. Changes Cerebral to Super Cerebral. Reduces Cerebral and Powerhouse character special charge time by 1. And then Cerebral Powerhouse All Boost, 2.25 for 3 turns. I'm just not that wowed about this guy, honestly. He just seems okay. Like, yeah, he's going to be a nice unit to have. Artwork looks phenomenal, by the way. I got to say that. Artwork for this guy looks really, really good. I'm definitely happy in regards to that. But, ability-wise, I think a little lacking. Let's continue on. Support effect. Only attaches to Bonnie once per quest. If the Bonnie uses a special, further boost the chain multiplier effects by plus 0.7 and reduce 2 turns of Despair. That's a very good support effect for sure. Okay, let's move on to the Rumble. Rumble special, 32 CT. What is he classified as? He is a defense style unit. Okay. Targets enemies in a large range for 3 times damage. Cerebral and side teammates for defense up level 6. Provoke on himself and a 3 times counter. If you got 8 or more Cerebral or Powerhouse, target 2 high attack enemies for a 100% chance of force out. That's quite a good special. This is a pretty good Rumble special. He's got a Rumble ability, Rumble or the Super Rumble special. You need to be hit 3 times, more damage, more defense, more counter, and then 3 teammates for the force out. Okay. Seems pretty solid. I personally have always found Cerebral teams really tricky to build in Rumble because, like, Cerebral has so many units, but, like, there's not, like, one character you can point to that is, like, your go-to Cerebral damage dealer. They've got a lot of good key utility characters and good defenses and healing, but damage has always been a bit of a weird thing for Cerebral, I feel. You got characters like Atlas that could potentially work. It's just kind of a weird situation to be in. Rumble ability, Psi and Cerebral characters, HP defense 7, that's phenomenal. He gets guard up level 10 for himself and revives 1 time. Okay, it's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty solid. Obviously no GP stuff, but in Rumble he seems like a decent pick for sure. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed with his normal mechanics because he just doesn't have a lot going on with him, you know what I mean? Captain ability is definitely interesting because of the utility, providing paralysis and potential despair removal. And then, like, he's actually got a lot of HP. He gives a lot of HP to Revs and Paramecias. But of course you mainly predominantly want to build with Egghead to get the most out of this guy. Okay, so that's the breakdown of Kuma. As I said, I think that he's fine. It's just not really wowing me. And I guess we really shouldn't be expecting that at this point because we do have the 11th anniversary, which is not that far away. And that's where they really should be, you know, spending the most time on their characters because we're hoping that the 11th anniversary brings along a good batch of characters, okay? So let's move on. Let's have a look at what Vegapunk is providing us here. As I said, artwork before looks quite good. So, Vegapunk is a solo unit. He is a Dex, Cerebral, and a Free Spirit. He has Final Tap. I swear to God. If they give him base attack boost, I'm gonna be so mad. He's a recovery style unit. Okay. Let us continue. He has a captain ability and a special that becomes stronger when forming a crew with a certain number of tags. He has a super class for cerebral territory. So his super class applies territory cerebral. That's pretty neat. Okay. Special ability, removes 7 turns of attack down. That's good. Boost damage dealt to damage taken increase or weaken status enemies, 2.5 for 3 turns. While this is good on paper, the problem is the fact that it's nice to get, like, the double stacking conditional boost, where you can have one conditional boost for increased damage taken, then one for weakness, and then apply both of those debuffs. That's, like, the best case scenario. But when you have a special that does this, where one conditional boost is checking for weakness and increased damage taken at the same time, it means that double stacking conditional boost, you have to use a different condition. You have to do, like, defense down or delay or whatever, right? So that could be a bit of an issue, but depending on what his build is, it could be okay. When 4 or more Scientist, Egghead, and or Vegapunk are on the crew, boost Cerebral, Free Spirit, and Powerhouse attack by 3.5 for 3 turns, and up to 2 boosts can be applied. That's incredibly strong. 3.5 for 3 turns is no joke. Otherwise, Cerebral, Free Spirit, Powerhouse, 3x for 1 turn, 2 buffs can be applied to it. That's pretty good. That's a good part of the special there. When 1 or more Seraphim, or 2 or more Vegapunk are on the crew, boost Scientist, Seraphim, and Vegapunk attack of the next final tap by 40%. Okay, that effect, pretty redundant. Unless, of course, you're going to be using him in high damage content. Then it's going to be pretty good. But I think in most cases, you're probably just looking at this. I sincerely hope that he has a way to abuse this so that he's kind of self-sufficient. Characters that have to rely on other characters to make the original character actually good can be a bit troublesome. You know, characters that are self-sufficient and are really good by themselves that can synergize with other units, fully making use of that character's abilities is the best way to have a character be considered good. If a character is only good in a certain scenario, that's going to make him really bad. So let's continue on. Captain ability. -1 cooldown. Typical. Cerebral, Free Spirit, Powerhouse, 5.5, 1.2 HP. Okay. Dex, Int, and Tandem slots matching. When the crew's special move activates an effect that reduces or removes an enemy's damage reduction effect or drastically reduces damage effect above a certain level, which is damage threshold, reduces the effect by an additional 1 turn. I like that. That's pretty good. It's similar to, like, versus Luffy. The following effects are applied based on tags. When you have 4 or more Scientists, Cerebral class get 1.2 times attack. When 5 or more Egghead, reduce bind duration by 2 turns. And then Vegapunk and Seraphim get 500 base attack. Okay. Okay. I like Kuma's captain ability better because the utility that he has is just far superior. This being able to remove an additional turn of Rainbow Shield removal or Threshold removal, it is neat. It's a cool ability that he has. But again, like, characters like versus Luffy have had this ability in the past, and it hasn't been like the make or break as to like why you would go out of your way to use them. It's been the other subsidiary abilities that have made that character really strong. This could definitely have some use cases, and of course is going to be pretty useful, I would think, in upcoming PKA content, potentially treasure map content coming up in May. But as it stands right now, like, I wouldn't say it's a redundant effect because this definitely has use cases. It's just, it doesn't come up as often as you would think. It's a neat effect. And if you run double Vegapunk leader, if for some reason you do, you can remove up to like 2 turns additional, which that actually starts to make a difference there. 1 additional turn, you know, take it or leave it, right? And then you want to be building with Scientists. So the way that this character is built is, if you're not running Scientists, your damage is going to be pretty low. So let's pull up the calculator right again. 5.5 times 1.2. Well, that's strong. That's actually very strong. So he already gives Cerebral, Free Spirit, Powerhouse 5.5. But then if you've got 4 or more Scientists, your Cerebral characters get 1.2. So if you're running Mono Cerebral with at least 4 Scientists, this guy would classify as a Scientist as well, right? Surely, right? Yeah. 6.6? Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy. Hold up. Okay, what's his other abilities? Crewmate ability, Cerebral, Free Spirit, Powerhouse, Dex, Int, Tandem, Matching, and if you have Territory, Base Attack 200. If you have an Int slot in your tab with him, boost Chain Effects by 0.3. Final tap, you need to have 2 or more characters on the crew. Adds 1.1 damage dealt by normal attacks. Hallelujah, this is cracked. Oh my god. Okay, now we're getting into some spicy territory. So, for those of you who don't understand how this works, this is essentially the same final tap as the Luffy and the Straw Hats. Basically, any damage, so remember that this is the final tap, so the previous 5 characters that attacked, let's say, hypothetically, your previous 5 characters did 1 billion damage, then when you final tap with this, it will take the 1 billion damage that you previously did with your other 5 characters, you know, multiply by the 1.1, which is obviously 1.1 times billion damage, and that gets added on to the final tap damage of Vegapunk. So essentially what this means is when you final tap with Vegapunk, all of your cerebral damage that you've done previously is doubled. Well, basically more than doubled. It's 1.1, so it's essentially like a 110% damage bonus for all of your other cerebral units. This is a very powerful final tap special. The only real issue is that you have to build essentially a full Vegapunk team to make him work effectively. But when you do build that team, this is a very powerful ability. We haven't even had a look at his superclass ability yet. 2 more characters are on the crew. If you're going to be using him as a captain, you want to be building with these characters anyway. So you get Super Cerebral. You reduce all enemies' HP by 10% at the end of the turn for 1 turn. Okay, the reason why this ability absolutely sucks booty is because this final tap literally gets around resilience. So I don't get why this exists when his final tap exists. At the final battle and 2 or more characters on the crew. Yeah, there's no like stupid condition. It's... okay, well... You could also use this effect outside of the final stage. So if you're on stage 4 of a fight and you need to get to stage 5 and they have resilience, you could use it to get around resilience, I suppose. It also changes all slots into tandem, including block. That's phenomenal. Changes own character slot into int, which makes sense. Why? Hang on. Can you use this as a crewmate? No, you can't. Because as a crewmate ability, when you tap on this character with int, it further boosts the chain. But then he has this ability that gives himself an int slot, applies the territory, which we all know that's a very good ability. It lasts for 2 turns, by the way. Interesting. Okay. Tinfoil hat theory. I feel like the fact that he gives himself an int slot, yet has this crewmate ability, maybe there's going to be a captain shift coming up. Maybe there's going to be a captain shift with Bonnie. Maybe. Or a captain shift with one of the other Vegapunk. Interesting. Okay, when I first was reading these abilities here, I mean, this ability is, I don't like this at all, but Vegapunk seems very good. He does seem quite good. I mean, if you're building it correctly, a 6.6 times captain, additional utility to potentially remove more defensive effects, as I mentioned earlier, this effect won't come up as often as you think. And then this final tap is godly, and then this superclass is also very, very good. Like, the fact that him by himself giving a full board of tandem slots, massive attack boost with the special, good utility with the special as well, removing this. He doesn't apply increased damage taken or weakened, so that's the only real downside. But if you can partner this with a character that applies good increased damage taken or good weakness debuff, this has the potential to be very, very good. I'm liking what they're doing with this guy. Support effect attaches to any of the Vegapunks as well as the Seraphim, Sentomaru, Kuma, Bonnie. If you're inflicted with attack down, reduce it by 1 turn, and then boost the chain multiplier by plus 0.7 for 2 turns. Yeah, that's a very good support effect as well. Good stuff, man. Alright, so Rumble ability, 26 CT. He's a recovery style unit. Recovers HP of Dex type, free Spirit class teammates by 3.5, and shortens special bind duration by 10. After first 40 seconds, targets team for 100% chance to remove defense down. That's interesting. And then Dex and free Spirit allies get special CT. Wow, that's good. On a 26 CT, yeah, this is a very good character. I could see this potentially making waves on the Free Spirit team, having great recovery, which, like, Free Spirit's already pretty good in defense departments, but adding this on top of their already kind of stacked defense, giving them healing, as well as pretty good CT increase is kind of nice. And then the Super Rumble special is removes attack down and defense down on the crew. Recovers HP of teammates by 50% or less by 2x on top of the additional recovery. And then he also gives Dex Free Spirit 4 times recovery, special bind duration by 20, CT up 7, and a shield. God, and he only needs to be hit once? And this is the level limit break ability. This guy level limit break, this is an absolutely insane special ability. What's his Rumble ability? Dex and Free Spirit, 6 health, 6 attack, 6 recovery after the first 40 seconds. Dex, Free Spirit, CT at level 3. Yo, dude, Vegapunk looking kind of spicy, though. Vegapunk actually looking kind of spicy, though. Yeah, I don't mind this at all. Vegapunk seems pretty good. I like Vegapunk a lot. Again, prefacing the fact that you need to build him very specifically, but if you do build him in the right way, this guy seems kind of good. Of course, you need to have, like, basically full investments across the board to actually make him kind of good, because that final tab needs to be maxed in order to actually be worth using, I feel. Even at probably level 3 and level 4, you'll be fine, but we've got to see the numbers. But overall, a very, very interesting batch of characters. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions about this one. Of course, this is the final major batch right before the 11th anniversary. So let me know your thoughts and opinions about this one down below in the comment section. Hope you enjoyed the video, though. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.